When I'm trying to explain what the Recovery Center is, it's really about people. It's not about a building, it's about community, just like the name implies. So it's a collection of people trying to support each other in recovery and also pave a path for others to get into recovery.
Well, there's been a lot of articles, a lot of stories around how large this epidemic is, and it barely touches on, in fact, how broad this is and how many people are being impacted day to day. Our entire society is being impacted by the opioid epidemic.
I know addiction, it hits every town. It's not like just here in Portland, it's everywhere. But I know that there needs to be some place, a safe place for people to go.
Steve Cotreau and his entire team really are a driving force behind making policy and saving lives every single day.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and talk for days about the PRCC. I mean, you see miracles in there every day, every day.
For me, the Portland Recovery Community Center actually did save my life. It gave me a safe place to be during the day. It gave me support and encouragement to keep doing that next right thing. It gave me the realization that just because I hit a barrier or a roadblock, that I didn't have to give up, that I could just keep trying and not to give up. And they taught me how to ask for help. They taught me that it was okay to ask for help.
When I was in my 20s, I did not have plans of being alive past 30. It was not going that way. I was killing myself with alcohol and drugs. Everything I have, I'm married, I have a house, I have dogs, I have friends, I have family. I would have none of that if I wasn't in recovery. So, what does it mean to have a life? That's what recovery is. It's everything.
They say the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. It is connection. What Steve does best here and what everybody that works here does best is they help people connect with themselves and then connect with each other.
Relating to someone on a peer-to-peer level is a really great thing. So we give everybody a weekly phone call, checking in and seeing how they're doing, offering any resources they may need, whether that's rehab numbers, detox numbers, sober house numbers, or even just someone to listen to. Sometimes it's easier to talk to somebody who we don't see all the time than it is to talk to somebody really close to us. When I was in active addiction, I wasn't able to show up for anybody. And so someone comes in, they sign up on the board, and they're like, we expect them to show up, and most of the time they do. So it teaches that accountability part as well.
The diversity of this place in the community, just Portland in general, but you see a lot of faces here. I know one huge thing for me is I started a meeting here about a year ago. I show up here every weekend for it. I bring people, I ask for speakers to come and share their experience, strength, and hope. And it's one of the ways that people come together, just the meetings.
They look like they found some joy back in their life, and that's important. You don't get sober to stay miserable, I don't think many people would sign up for that. That's not what you see here if you hang out.
A year and a half ago, I had a certain impression of what this was about, and I had a certain impression about the folks who were in this situation, and I was so terribly wrong, and so that has changed my perspective dramatically.
I always use myself for that. When people are you get into a surrounding where people are, you hear them talking, and you hear the words that they use, and where I'm at now, I'm a person in long-term recovery for over 24 years from drugs and alcohol, and to be where I'm at this point, I would have never thought that 24 years ago at all. So I like to reflect that back to them and say that, and tell them just what I told you, and then they kind of look with their eyes open, and because they don't think of me as that way.
Even the professional community is still behind in using the right language. I hear the word abuse all the time still, and that's not the right language for us to be using. we should be using misuse or substance use disorder or something along those lines, and always with person first. And so, if someone's not an addict, they're a person with substance use disorder or a person struggling with addiction.
I would say the word of the day in 2016 for me in law enforcement is diversion. I want to divert people out of the criminal justice system, out of the jails, out of the hospitals, out of the homeless shelters. Let's get them on a path to long-term recovery. And if they're healthy and happy, they are in turn productive members of society.
I envision a future where we have multiple community centers like the Portland Recovery Community Center all across the state, and that not only are those centers there, but by sort of educating the community around what recovery is like and what is needed and what is happening, you branch that out. So you change a community, you change surrounding areas, people know that there's a place to go, you have satellites, you have pick-up meetings, and you have different things and people get connected in a different way.
So I think we definitely need more detox, we need more treatment, we just need options for people, and housing options. We need reform on how to help elevate people out of homelessness or poverty, and that's why somewhere like the Recovery Center is great, because they can see people who also are in similar situations, who are being successful, who will pull you aside and say, hey, you can do this, we'll help you figure it out.
We've seen a lot since 2012 in the state as a movement, the recovery movement. We've seen it really go forward, and hope is we're going to keep moving.